Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSM Arena. Xiaomi has re-released its popular Redmi Note 8, and this one's called the Redmi Note 8 2021. But can a phone that packs basically 2-year-old specs compete in today's mid-range market? Let's find out in our full review. As you might expect, the Redmi Note 8 2021 is pretty much identical to the original Redmi Note 8 that came out back in 2019. The two are nearly impossible to tell apart. You get the same design, dimensions, and even weight here. The flat back panel is made from sturdy Gorilla Glass 5, and its gradient finish catches light in a neat pattern. The frame is plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap, and overall the Redmi Note 8 2021 is nice to look at and to hold in the hand. The previous model had a nano coating on the internals and could survive a splash or two, and according to Xiaomi, the 2021 version improves upon that. There's still no IP rating here though. The Redmi Note 8 2021 brings back one feature you don't see too often these days, a notification LED. And the fingerprint scanner is rear-mounted, which is more rare to see in 2021 than it was a couple of years ago. The Redmi Note 8 2021's screen is a 6.3-inch IPS LCD with a 1080p resolution, Gorilla Glass 5 protection, and a standard 60Hz refresh rate. In this day and age, most of the hot new mid-rangers are packing a high refresh rate to make for smoother swiping and scrolling, so 60Hz feels like a step backwards. And for some reason, there is a bit of smearing when scrolling text on a white background, which means the pixel response is even slower than on the original model. So it seems this is actually a different panel altogether. There are also other differences we found with this display which support this theory. Max brightness is actually better this time around. We measured around 560 nits with a brightness slider, which boosts to 620 nits in auto mode in bright conditions. But at the same time, the color accuracy isn't as good here as on the Redmi Note 8, even if you take the time to fiddle with the colors in settings. While we're still on the topic of what's different on the 2021, I have to mention the storage options. Here you start at a higher 64 gigs, and there's a 128 gig option too, all still expandable. The previous model has already been updated to Android 11, but with the newly released one, you'll get software support that'll last a bit further down the line. Still, at its core, the MIUI 12.5 interface is pretty much the same that we've seen from Xiaomi for the past while. The main difference between the Redmi Note 8 2021 and the old model is the chipset. In fact, the global chipset shortages might be why Xiaomi decided to make this phone in the first place. On the Redmi Note 8 2021, you get a MediaTek Helio G85 chipset built on a 12nm process, which we also saw in last year's Redmi Note 9. This is in contrast to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 in the original Note 8. Actually, neither chipset is a performance champion, but the MediaTek one does have the edge when it comes to graphics tests. The real-world performance of the Note 8 2021 is pretty similar to what we saw before though. It's reliable for your day-to-day needs, but you may experience a hiccup from time to time during heavier tasks or gaming. While the cameras of the Note 8 2021 are the same as on the original one, there are some differences in processing because of the different chipset. The cameras include a 48-megapixel quad Bayer main cam, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide, a 2-megapixel macro cam, and a depth sensor. But one of the side effects of the chipset change is that you don't get 4K video recording this time around. Bummer. 1080p videos from the main cam are actually pretty solid. You get low noise and decent dynamic range, and colors look true to life. Due to the lower resolution though, you get less detail than you could on the first Redmi Note 8. The ultra-wide cam also does a good job with video, producing clips with good-looking colors, enough sharpness, and again, decent dynamic range. There is some visible noise though. Let's continue with the quality of still photos. Shots from the main cam come out in 12 megapixels, and during the day, they're far from perfect. Resolve detail is good and colors look natural, but the phone tends to overexpose its photos. Thankfully, much of the overexposure seems to be due to the default AI enhancement, which you're able to toggle off. Still, this behavior is really odd. The overexposure issue also extends to the ultra-wide camera and is worse because this cam has a more narrow dynamic range to begin with. Toggling off the AI mode again helps the situation, but the photos are still on the softer side. At least the color rendition matches that of the main cam. Close-ups from the 2-megapixel macro cam are nothing to write home about, but they're okay for the price bracket. In low light, the Redmi Note 8 2021 does okay for a budget phone. Shots from the main cam look decent, with good detail and well-balanced dynamic range. You get controlled light sources and some detail in the shadows. There is some general softness due to the noise reduction though. If you turn on the night mode, the quality improves a lot. These photos come out brighter, with boosted shadows, and light sources are better contained. The overall level of detail seems better too. The ultra-wide camera struggles in low light, but the quality isn't the worst we've seen. There's softness throughout the frame, but these photos are still usable. There isn't any night mode support here though. And for selfies, there's a 13 megapixel front-facing cam. It does a great job, producing photos with plenty of detail, nice looking colors, and low noise. Now I'll go ahead and talk about the rest of what the Redmi Note 8 2021 has to offer, starting with the audio. You get a traditional headphone jack here and a single bottom firing speaker. It's not too loud, scoring just average on our loudness charts, and the sound quality is unimpressive. The Redmi Note 8 2021 has a 4000 mAh battery capacity, just like the original, and battery life is similar here. The new model scored a respectable endurance rating of 102 hours in our battery life tests. And finally, the Redmi Note 8 2021 supports up to 18-watt charging, but comes with a 22.5-watt charger in the box. With it, we were able to charge from 0 to 34% in half an hour. So there you have it guys. The Redmi Note 8 was a popular budget phone back in 2019, and you get the same features here, including the snazzy design, the good battery life, and the decent cameras. The thing is, this industry moves fast. It seems like every time you turn around, there's a new model coming out. So 2 years is a long time, and by now the budget phones are packing things like high refresh rate screens, bigger batteries, faster charging, and even stereo speakers. If you don't mind this older design, or if you're even after that, then the Redmi Note 8 2021 could be worth looking into, but otherwise you'll find more up-to-date features elsewhere. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and see you on the next one.